Hello everybody, this is Stephen Whitfield with Drilling Contractor, and we are here in Estoril, Portugal, site of IADC's 2026 World Drilling Conference. Now at these conferences, we love to speak with people who give presentations for the conference, and these conferences tend to have lengthy discussions about the oil and gas markets, geopolitical markets, lots of really cool stuff. And with me right now is a man who gave a presentation sort of looking into the wider sort of market landscape and sort of where geopolitics is kind of affecting oil and gas. This is Alex Janzen of RMI Global. He's going to give us a little bit of insight of some of the stuff that he said here at the conference. So, Alex, thank you so much for joining me today.
Pleasure.
So, I'm going to go over 3 questions here, kind of each hitting on points that you made in your presentation. The first question I'm going to ask is about the drivers for oil and gas demand change. Now, you were saying that oil and gas demand right now is sort of, I guess, realigning a little bit. Sort of explain that. What's driving that?
So the market is historically been structured with focused on US supply and China demand, and that has been a relative stable over the last decade or so. What we're seeing now is really the China demand starting to plateau. We're seeing real growth and change in the Chinese economy, away from the mass construction that it's been focused on over the last decade, much more investment in electric vehicles and renewables. And we're also seeing, for example, the Chinese demand for electric vehicle lorries, so big trucks, outstripping that cumulatively of the whole of the rest of the world by more than double. So the whole of the rest of the world, 140,000 truck demand last year, and last year in China alone, 280,000. So there's a real significant shift and a change in the economic structure in China. And what we're also seeing concurrently is a real growth in the demand in Southeast Asia and India. So that's where we're seeing the real growth and change in demand.
Okay, so whenever we start talking about stuff like this, we're an audience of drilling contractors. Everyone's going to want to know, what does that mean for me? So for our members out there, what does this shift really mean for them?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So I think really what is very interesting to me is that the supply of oil, the demand for oil isn't changing, but the sources of the demand and the sources of supply and the mechanism for getting from supply to demand is changing, and that is also becoming more loaded with friction through various factors. But the demand really isn't changing that much. It's plateauing, and I think Lars did a great presentation in terms of what the forecasting of future demand looks like and how unreliable that forecasting is. But I think certainly what we would see for customers, at the gas pump, I think we can reasonably expect to see probably slightly higher prices over the course of the next decade. I think that's inevitable as the supply chain and the mechanism of movement of the oil and gas becomes more loaded with friction.
Okay, so you just said that forecasting can be unreliable at times.
Yeah.
So that makes my next question really funny, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Okay.
So let's look ahead. You've already kind of said a little bit about that, but what happens next?
Okay, so this is where I get my crystal ball out, and I would say that we're going to be more affected by the choke points, the global choke points. So you've got mass movement of oil. It's got to go around the Straits of Hormuz. It's got to go around the Bab el-Mandeb. It's got to go through the Straits of Malacca. It's got to go through the Red Sea, the Suez Canal. All of those are very narrow choke points where it is very easy to affect the shipping, the routing of the oil, and that is going to become a more common feature, the ability to influence the reliability of the supply. And we're also in a world where we're more affected by personality-based politics, whether that be in China or India or Russia. And so that is having a really significant impact in terms of how we put confidence and efficiency into the system. We're in a world where the structure of the industry was always being based around lower cost, around efficiency, around effective routing, making sure that we keep the costs down and give better value for money at the pump. That's always been the case. I think that level of certainty, that level of confidence is now gone. And over the course of the next decade, we're going to see the impact of things like those choke points, putting more friction in, forcing us to load more confidence, more security, more structure into the system of supply to ensure that the demand, the person doing the demand, the country doing the demand, has confidence that it is going to arrive.
Well, Alex, thank you for taking the time to talk to us today. I guess we'll see where we are in a few months. We'll see how much things change. But we appreciate you giving this insight into the world as it is right now. Thank you.
I'll be out of date tomorrow, inevitably.
Oh, that's how it goes sometimes. Well, thank you. And thank you for visiting drillingcontractor.org.